Alrighty. Is it recording? I think it's recording now.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you all get a question saying that it was recording? No? Okay, well, we're recording. All right. So hello everyone. Welcome to new Student Org Advisor Orientation. My name is Amy Prowse. I'm the Director of Student Involvement. And with me today is Emily Warren, who is our Administrator of Student Involvement and really oversees the all student org functions and compliance for our department. Do we want to just quickly introduce ourselves and tell each other what organization we're a part of? Great, sounds good. Serena, how about you go first?
Okay, I'm Serena Shade, and I'm the advisor for No Mind Left Behind, a student organization to reduce the stigma of mental health illnesses, concerns, things like that.
That's very cool, Serena. I'm Jenna Lafreniere, and I advise for Vitality Dance Company. It is a self-run student organization where they choreograph dances, and then they have a show every spring and fall where they do performances.
Right, Annette, how about you?
Hi, I'm Annette Castellano, and I am the faculty staff advisor for Delta Sigma Phi, and it is a fraternity that is new to campus, or at least coming back.
Yes, thank you so much, Annette. Andrea, how are you doing?
I'm great. Sorry for joining late. I lost track of time.
Hey, no worries. It gets time gets the best of us. We're just quickly doing introductions of everybody, and you really haven't missed anything. So if you'll just tell us who you are and what organization or organizations you advise.
My name is Andrea Wade. I'm with the Department of Design and the College of Human Sciences, and I'm the advisor for the American Society of Interior Design Student Org.
Excellent. Thank you for being here today. Okay. All right. So we've all met each other, and so we're going to go ahead and move on in our content and just we're going to go over the basics first and just build from the bottom up in this presentation. So some of this stuff you might already know, and if you don't, then we're about to enlighten you on some fun facts. So who are we? We are in the Division of Student Life through the Office of the Provost. We are the Office of Student Involvement. And so in our Division of Student Life, we have actually a variety of programs that are student service programs that serve students in a non-academic support capacity. So it's student involvement. We also have our partner, our sister office, if you might say, Fraternity and Sorority Life. We also have our Spirit and Cheer programs as well. That also includes the Mass Rider and Raider Red programs. Additionally, Office of Student Conduct is in our division. We have the Risk Intervention and Safety Education Office as well, RISE, Military and Veterans Programs, the Student Counseling Center, Student Disability Services, and Student Government Association. So we are the departments that make up what you know as Office of the Provost Student Life. All right, but student involvement specifically, what we do is we oversee all student organizations on campus, ranging from fraternities and sororities to sport clubs to our general student organizations. We also support the law school student organizations. We support the orgs that are forming at the vet school in Amarillo. And we also work closely with student services at the Costa Rica campus to help them develop their student organizations, because they're still very much at the developmental stage of their student involvement at that campus. So it's really neat. Not only do we work with our main campus faculty staff advisors and student organizations, but we stretch our services all the way off campus as well. And so that's really neat to serve other various campuses and see what the needs of those students and those advisors are as well. So through our office, our advisors and our student organization leaders have the opportunity to engage in various leadership development opportunities. And there's an element of community engagement as well. So fun fact about our office is with the attention that has been put on community and service engagement through the institution as a whole with the centennial anniversary, we have been able to hire a brand new position, a brand new administrator position, who oversees the leadership and service parts of student involvement. Never has existed before, brand new position. It's so neat. And that individual's name is Stephanie Lamar. Some of you may, if you ever interacted with the RISE office prior to the pandemic, you may remember Stephanie. She was the past program manager for RISE, and we are so fortunate to have Stephanie in our office now because she brings a wealth of knowledge of how the institution functions and just is so great with student development and curriculum development as well. So we are so excited to have Stephanie on board. She's not in here this meeting right now. She is actually away from the office, but I just wanted to mention her. So any questions about what we do? Okay, great. Our student involvement staff, you've met Emily and I. We have a graduate assistant and we also have a student assistant. Our grad assistant is receiving her Master's of Science degree in forensics, specifically the chemistry toxicology track. And she actually just finished presenting at the National Forensics Institute conference in Orlando, Florida, and is on the short list for the Emerging Forensic Scientist Award with the research that she is doing with her, her thesis chair. So she comes and does student involvement, higher education, administrative work during the day. And when she leaves our office, she goes and uses the other side of her brain and engages in some really neat research in forensic science development. So don't ask me what she's researching. She's told me 15 times and I still don't remember. Anyways, Kaylin Hall is our student assistant. Kaylin is a marketing major in the Rawls College of Business and will graduate in May. Kaylin is, I call her our marketing manager. Whatever she tells me is happening with the PR and marketing and advertising for our department, as far as our weekly newsletter and our social media platforms and the marketing campaigns for all of our programs, I take her word for it because she's that good at it. And we also, in addition to Kaylin, Emily found us an intern through the University Career Center that's going to be our graphic designer for our department. So that's kind of who we're, a very small staff. But yeah, that's who we are. Oh, Kim Thornton. Forgot about Kim. Dr. Thornton is our Associate Vice Provost of Student Life for Campus Life. So she oversees about 4 or 5 of those 11 departments that you saw on the previous slide. So when I don't know the answer, when y'all ask me questions, I just go to Kim and we figure out the answer together. All right. So as new advisors, we're just going to just quickly go through what student org annual requirements look like, so y'all are aware of what these look like. Mind you, these are not, we're not going over these so you can complete them. No. We're going over these because you should be aware of what your student org leaders are required to do. Okay, so what must be completed annually? Re-registration, student organization re-registration, and risk management training have to be completed annually. You can reference section N of the TTU student handbook for all policy and procedure that surrounds student organization functioning and operations. Registration. So speaking of registration itself, it opens every spring semester in March, and it will always extend through the summer until the first day of fall classes. So I'm just going to kind of like go off track of this slide right here because my mind is going 90 miles an hour with registration itself. So registration opens on March 1st, always. From here on out, until whoever comes in after our staff decides to change it or whatever, okay? It's a change that we have made recently. Student org registration has always opened in the spring, but it has never had a set concrete date because it has always been dependent upon when a facility can be reserved to have mandatory student org training, okay? But we have revamped all of that over the past year and are now officially launching our new student org training modules, which are completely all put together in an online learning classroom that all student org leaders will have access through our webpage to complete. Those open on March 1st. And those will all close on the first day of fall classes. So not only can you access your mandatory online student org trainings for the upcoming academic year starting March 1st, but you can also access your student org re-registration in Tech Connect on March 1st. And in those online, those virtual training modules, students have the option, not the option, they have the requirement where they can also complete risk management training. So in one sitting, our student organizations, as of March 1st, can complete all of their trainings. They can complete, including risk management training, and upon completion of those modules, they can register their student organization. And it's self-paced and more convenient for them and less complicated than it has been in the past, we hope. So that's what you should be expecting. Your student org, that's what you maybe should be checking in with your student org leaders is, hey, are you aware that the new training modules and registration and risk management opens for the upcoming school year on March 1st? When do y'all plan to get this done? And, you know, who are you delegating this to do this? All right. So again, not for y'all to do it, but just for y'all to inquire with your org leaders of what their plans are to accomplish these requirements. Do we have questions about the registration process or maybe the new learning modules? Or anything, maybe, for that matter. All right. Okay, now risk management, the second requirement. So risk management training for student organizations is always completed one time each academic year. Sport clubs and general student organizations complete, as we know, student organization risk management training. Okay, so Jenna and Serena, your organizations will send one officer to an in-person or a Zoom training, or ideally they complete risk management in their online training modules as part of that 9-module classroom. Okay. However, we're still offering risk management training in person and on Zoom. We have found that a lot of other universities simply don't offer risk management training in person or over Zoom. They do it all recorded and virtualized now. We are, like research kind of shows that that's not effective. And so as well as giving them a virtual module to complete risk management, we also still want to facilitate a in-person or in-person / on Zoom, because that's different than watching a recorded training. We still want to give them those options so we can be engaging with the students and have that personal connection with them, and they can know what our office does, who we are, and that we are a resource to help them with risk management topics. So fraternities and sororities. So Annette, this is what you need to know about Delta Sigma Phi completing their risk management training each year. Fraternities and sorority organizations complete what is called Clay R. Warren risk management training that's facilitated by the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life each spring semester. Now, for Clay R. Warren training, fraternities and sororities by law are required to send 4 officers to complete these trainings. Those 4 officers are the president, the social chair, the new member educator, and the risk or the standards chair. That only pertains to fraternity and sorority groups that are considered Greek life. So our Greek lettered organizations that are considered general student orgs, they take risk management training through our office. Okay, so we don't make it complicated. And I honestly don't even mention the different risk management requirements unless I have a mixed group in the room like we have now, where there's gen org advisors, fraternity and sorority advisors, and maybe even a sport club advisor. Okay, Annette, do you have any questions about fraternity and sorority risk management?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, Serena, Jenna, what about y'all?
No,
None at all.
thank you.
Okay. So as we said earlier, our compliance season, and we're still very much working on new wording that is uniform across our department and with our students. In the past, it's been risk management, registration, trainings, but now we're very much trying to go to a streamlined system where we just call everything compliance training. Okay, so compliance training itself opens on March 1st, spans the first day of fall classes. However, risk management compliance extends until the last day of fall classes. So the ability to complete your training modules in our online classroom and to register your organization ends on the first day of classes. After that, orgs have the option of reinstating. We have a process for if they miss that deadline, but then they also have the whole fall semester to complete risk management. Okay. In the past, I believe that has been done because of the structure, the way that our required trainings were delivered in a in-person 8-hour workshop, like bring 619 student organizations to one location and deliver 8 hours of training to them. And if they don't show up, then they have to have other opportunities to attend the training. But now with us having all of those trainings in an online classroom, we're kind of hoping that organizations just complete everything at one time because the information is there for them to access. So yeah. So if you need to put that on a calendar, I remember it in seasons like sports seasons. Compliance season is March 1 through the first day of fall classes, and you have until the last day of fall classes to complete risk management. That's how I simplify it in my own head. All right. Any questions before we move forward? Okay. So risk management training for student org advisors. This is completed one time and one time only for all faculty and staff campus student org advisors. And the actual Clay R. Warren bill, the Senate bill itself, says that student org advisors literally only have to complete student org advisor risk management training one time. So if you complete it next week, Emily, I don't even know if we don't have one next week, do we? No. If you complete it the next time we have one, you may not feel like you need to complete that for another 5 years. Great. You may be the type of person that wants to go through student org risk management training every year. That's great. We're going to have opportunities for you to complete that training as often or as less frequent as you want. The law only requires you to have it one time. We always host our advisor programming with our office virtually. Advisors are all over campus. We all have such different job descriptions and duties on campus and schedules that it's impossible to bring advisors in person. So to make life easier on all of us, we just always do things generally during the lunch hour, and we will always do them virtually for you all. That's why we're recording the training today, because we had some people who their schedules didn't allow them to attend. Okay, questions about student org advisor risk management requirements? All right, great, y'all, great. You're rocking it so far. Okay, student requirements, mandatory student org trainings. Ignore this slide because that is wrong. There is no more student org academy at all. Those words are never going to leave our mouths in this office or across campus ever again. Big X, X it off. We have X'd that off to now put into place our online training modules, okay? And that is called the Student Org Leader Orientation.
Also known as SOA.
Emily, you did just sing. That's fantastic. You sound just like Jason Derulo. All right, so we're going to basically skip this slide, and all you have to know is that all training is done online now for our student organizations. All right, the Tech Connect roster. As the advisor, you're going to want to ensure that your student leaders update the Tech Connect roster in a timely manner, and that roster is as correct as possible, and that you as the advisor are on that roster, and that all officers of the organization are labeled correctly on that roster, okay? As a faculty staff advisor, when you're listed as the faculty staff advisor on your organization's Tech Connect roster, you have complete managerial access to do whatever you want with that organization's page, okay? If you find that you think you should be able to access something on that page or make an edit and you can't, please reach out to me, because I would like to then inquire about what access, maybe that position template for your organization, what access they've had in the past. That access maybe could have been changed, and I will make that access to unlimited access. And so you can change anything you want and manage that page like you as the advisor should be able to, okay? Please always note that there must be a president and there must be a treasurer, faculty staff advisor, and primary contact listed on the Tech Connect roster for your organization. The primary contact, it's preferred that that contact match whoever the student president is, or some organizations list their faculty staff advisor as the primary contact. For active members of just membership who should be listed on that roster, it's impossible for our students to know prior to their leadership in the organization of which members are active students who are enrolled or not, or who has graduated. So inherently, there's going to be some gaps in the accuracy of our Tech Connect rosters, just because that's FERPA protected information. And unless their advisor has access to the registrar's dashboard through the advisor tab, there's really no way of verifying who is still an enrolled student and who is not on your Tech Connect roster, okay? So I don't know what access the advisors in this room have to verifying student enrollment, but that's something that, you know, if that's something you're concerned about, we can have an external conversation about that as it pertains to your organization. New members should always be added, whether that is us instructing new members to join our organization through Tech Connect, or whether that's a contact list and then you go in by one and add them to your Tech Connect roster. In our new online, in our new student org leader orientation learning modules, we do have an entire module that is dedicated to using Tech Connect, and it goes through every feature of the Tech Connect page and teaches our student leaders how to use Tech Connect. Updating the roster is one of the mentions in that video. Let's see, the handbook only specifies that when changes to the officers or changes to the advisor happen, that those changes need to be updated and reflected on the Tech Connect roster within 10 days of those changes taking place. And that's the only thing that the handbook says about the roster. Okay, aside from president and treasurer and faculty staff advisor being listed. So let's talk real quick about the link between the student org, the Tech Connect roster, and student involvement. So our office. Tech Connect is not only a student organization management platform, but it is it's a extracurricular tracking platform as well. The main thing that we use it for right now is student organization management. So the only way that our office can efficiently communicate with 619 student organizations and the student leaders of those organizations and their membership base is based on who's listed on the roster. So for instance, if we need to put out a mass message to all of our student organizations, or if there is a very important message from the RISE office that needs to be sent to all organization presidents, we're going to do that using the communication features in Tech Connect. So what we will do is we would want to send an email relay to all presidents of all student organizations, right? However, our Tech Connect rosters are updated by students. So as professionals in the room, we're already, I hope you're putting together that there's going to be some gaps in what is correct information and what is not, because the Tech Connect is all student initiated. So The effectiveness of communication from our office to student organizations relies on the correctness of student organization rosters. So as the advisor, if you are supervising your student organization leaders and instilling that knowledge of how important having a correct roster is, then you're basically just instilling that culture in your organization that's going to ensure that they receive all information from our office that we send out. Does everybody follow that? Okay, perfect. I wish it wasn't like that, but I think it's impossible to change it. Yeah. Okay, student organization funding. Our office is not the fun office with money. That's SGA. We just basically tell the orgs what they can and can't do and meet with them when they have problems or they get in trouble and try to burn the place down. Okay. SGA is the fun office that has all of the money that they want. So there's two different types of funding that goes through the SGA office. The first one is the traditional SGA funding that student organizations have the option of applying to in the spring and the summer. I believe that award season is happening right now. Don't hold me to that. I don't want to say something false. I don't know what SGA does. I just know they have their procedures and they have an application period and then they have an allocation period as well. Teresa Davis is our main contact for SGA. So if your student leaders have questions about SGA funding, have questions about how is that money allocated? How do we apply for that funding? You're going to want to refer them to reach out to Teresa Davis. Mike Gunn is the director of SGA, but Teresa is the person who manages the logistics of the office. Another pool of funding is called Student Affairs Core Values Funding. So this is a supplemental fund of money that is set aside from the traditional SGA funding, and it is meant to do just that, to supplement what student organizations don't receive in their SGA allocated money. So for instance, let's say that Vitality Dance Company is preparing for their showcase in the spring, and they have, say they get $1,000 from SGA, but it turns out that they need just a bit more money for that budget for their showcase. They have the option of applying to receive core values funding. Generally, those amounts are awarded in $500 to $1,000, generally not above $1,000. I don't know that you're limited to the number of times that you can apply in an academic year. Again, it is a supplemental fund. So maybe you're not using SGA funding at all, and you just need $500 more to go to an event. You can apply for core values funding. There are requirements of what you can use that funding for and what you can't use it for. And ultimately, the reason you want to use that funding, it has to appeal to the core values of Texas Tech student life. That is all listed on the core values application. You can find all of the information about SGA funding and core values funding on SGA's webpage. Now, for No Mind Left Behind and Vitality, y'all have access to both of those fundings. Our fraternities and sororities, or student organizations who have a Title IX exemption to be approved to be a same-sex organization, they are not eligible for SGA funding. However, they can apply for core values funding, because that was the whole purpose of core values funding, was to create more equity among student organizations. Yes, so there is our funding spiel. Do we have any questions about funding?
Oh, sorry, Amy, how with the SGA funding, I was taking notes, so I might have missed this. How competitive is that, I guess, for students to get money from SGA?
Yeah. A lot of it is going to, so the amount of money that is allocated depends on several things: the amount requested, what the budget that's submitted looks like, how much you spent in the past year. There's a lot of variables. I can't speak to specifics about those. I would say that it's pretty competitive, and you want to apply as soon as possible, because we do have right now we do have 429 active student organizations that are eligible to apply for funding. Yes, so they're divvying up that money between those 400 plus organizations.
Okay, thank you.
For sure, yeah. I will say that the core values funding is not as well known. Many organizations that I talk to have no clue that it exists. I know at one point there was upwards of $50,000 in that account that needed to be allocated. That at the time, Vice Provost was telling us, create a marketing campaign for this. We need to get rid of this money. So apply for it. It's there. Use the money. Okay, so now we're just talk really about advisor responsibilities. If you have signed your advisor agreement form, the suggested role of the advisor on the advisor agreement form is the same thing that you're going to see on this slide. But as the advisor, our office mainly just emphasizes that you are the link between those students and this system, the university. We are all professionals in higher education. We know about the red tape that goes into higher education and what it takes to actually function as an entity or just as an employee on this campus and to get our daily jobs done. And so if we think about what it's like for a student to be navigating that red tape just to execute what their passion is, that is what the advisor's role is to help them. But the advisor's role is to also just provide guidance in general about university policy and procedure, best practices, ethical practices as well. And let's see, I lost my train of thought. Hang on. But really the more soft things that an advisor can provide is giving them your professional opinions, your professional advice, your professional expertise, being knowledgeable about events and activities that the org hosts, being engaged in their activities. I'm not saying you have to, you by all means, you don't have to go to anything they host. That's just a suggested role. But y'all are going to have a stronger relationship if you are involved in what they're hosting every semester, every academic year. If they're having meetings with you regularly, we all know just with student development and student support, that is how students are successful, and that's no different in their student organizations. The more contact they have with you, the more successful that they'll be. Student involvement is all about developing our outside of the classroom skills, our soft skills that really we use on a daily basis in our professional lives. And so that's the key, is them working with you to develop their own soft skills. Y'all are all fantastic professionals. I've met with Jenna, Serena and I are friends, and Annette, I'm just meeting you, and Andrea just meeting you, but our advisors are great here at Texas Tech. And so it's just really key for us as professionals to understand that we're teaching these students the soft skills that we already use without even knowing we use on a daily basis in the workplace. And that's where they're getting these is in their student organizations. So again, the more contact they have with you, the more they see you as a role model, the more that you can model for them, the better for them in the long run. And of course, helping them through times that are hard. I had a student organization walk in just today. They're down to a membership of 6 people, and that includes the 2 that walked into my office that hold executive roles. And they're very worried about the sustainability and the future of their organization. And we had an 1.5-hour meeting, just walk in, of them just telling me everything that has been bad and just needing support of what goes forward. And I asked them, I said, well, who's y'all's advisor? And I said, what's the relationship like? And it was not it needed to be more. The advisor needed to be more involved. And if the advisor would be more involved, they wouldn't have had to come to my office to have that conversation. Instead, they could have been like, here's what we discussed with our advisor, and we want to see what other resources you're able to allocate to us, right? And so now we're going to have reoccurring meetings monthly with those students and with that organization, just to make sure that they still have enough member to register for this next school year. And so, I mean, that's your job as the advisor. That's what you sign on to do, is be engaged in their events, help them in times of disparity, help them as young people talk through situations, help them conflict manage. We see a lot of conflict management, small issues, communication issues come through our office that don't even rise to the level of conduct. The majority of my work is not a conduct report. If it's an issue with a student org, it's because there's a disgruntlement. And I even stopped calling my student org accountability updates as like org conflict. I just call them org disgruntlement because that's all it is. And so, you know, that's kind of what you'll do is you'll be the front line to when they have issues, when there's drama going down, you get to hear about all the drama. You know, and then if you need guidance, come to our office and see how we would handle that with the organization. Okay. Any questions about advisor responsibilities? Okay. All right. Annette, your role with Delta Sigma Phi could look very different. I will point out that our campus advisors for our fraternities and sororities have a different role to the organization than like our general org advisors. Our fraternities and sororities actually have an alumni advisor that works with the daily operations of the fraternity or sorority itself, but then they're still required to have a full-time faculty or staff member serve as their campus advisor as well, because the organization still needs that link to Texas Tech, to resources at Texas Tech. And so Annette, I am so happy to talk with you outside. If you're concerned or you have questions of what your role looks like to Delta Sigma Phi as their campus advisor, I am happy to talk with you about that. We could meet, you know, real quickly afterwards, or we could meet real quickly on a different day. And
Sounds good. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I was like, I know they have 2 advisors, but I do intend to kind of keep track of everything that you've said. I'm going to kind of just follow up and be that backup person to make sure that they stay back on campus.
That's great. They stay on campus. Yes.
Stay on campus. Yes.
Yes. Well, and I will tell you too, Annette, with Delta Sigma Phi, the person that you should reach out to follow up about Delta Sigma Phi and kind of maybe do check-ins about them. 1 is the student leadership in that org, but 2 is Robbie Guilford, our IFC advisor in the fraternity and sorority office.
Great. And what was his last name?
Guilford. Here, I'm in the chat. I'm going to type Robbie's name. And I believe Robbie's email, Emily, is it just robbie.guilford or is it some makeup of letters? Okay, so just robbie.guilford@ttu.edu.
Great. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Everybody else good with advisor responsibilities? Do we want to engage in discussion about this, or are y'all just good to go? Okay.
I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
good.
Good deal. Hang on, I'm having a technical difficulty. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now we're actually, we've got 15 minutes, so we're going to try to do this really quick. If you have access to your computer, will you jump on Tech Connect and go ahead and log in and look at our homepage? I'm also going to pull up a shared screen of Tech Connect so we can kind of just share what we're looking at with each other. Okay. So we should be looking at our homepage right here. All right, this is what it looks like when you're logged in. If you will all scroll down to a point on the homepage where you see memberships. In a perfect world, under memberships, you should see a button for the student organization that you are the faculty staff advisor for. If you don't see it on the homepage, there's a secret way that you can go look. And that is navigating up to the top right corner of your screen where you see your initials, or if you're, really into Tech Connect, you put a cool profile picture, which you can personalize your Tech Connect profile. Fantastic. All right, so we just click on that little circle and then we go down to memberships. And it will actually list all of the memberships that you're part of. So you can see mine here, and it shows the details of that membership, roles that you have held. But the cool thing about it is you should be able to go and click organization site, and then it would take you to that organization's homepage. So that's kind of like the back way in to you being able to see what you're a member of. Okay. So if you've located your thumbs up, if we have located under memberships our organization. Emily, could you look up Delta Sigma Phi? And then Andrea, remind me which organization you're with. Okay, Andrea's good. Okay. Ideally, though, I'm going to go down to our fake student organization, which is called Student Org Sandbox. All right, so we're going to click that. If you are an advisor and you have managerial access, this is what it would look like when the homepage comes up. They'll all look different. This is what our fake student organization looks like. You can go up to the top right and click Manage Organization. You all should see a blue ribbon that tells you when your organization is eligible to re-register.
What did you want me to do with Delta Sigma Phi?
Just make sure that Annette is on there, because I know
She is.
sometimes. Okay, great. And I bet Robbie has made sure of that.
I don't see the blue ribbon on Vitalities right now.
Okay.
I like that you can see the blue ribbon. That's good. I'm like, somebody's got it. That's good.
And it's not important if you can't see the ribbon or not. It's just what you're going to see on the Manage Organizations page. I kind of call that the pointless page. Nothing ever shows up on that page unless it's registration season. But it looks like we're all set up. So yes, we can look at our Manage Organization page, this pointless page that we're all on right here. But more importantly, you want to navigate over to your menu on the left and pop it out. And you're under My Organizations is where you find the features of your organization's page. So you find the organization you're working with, which for me is going to be Student Org Sandbox. I'm then going to click on the little settings wheel. And then you can see all of the organization tools at your disposal. So the about information is the information that is put in by students when they register the organization. And then when that registration is approved, that information is published on the homepage. And that's what students see when they pull up the organization in Tech Connect. So as the advisor, it's my advice that you review the about information, make sure that it's appropriate, that it speaks to the mission and purpose and the values and the goals of the organization. Make sure that the contact information is correct. I encourage you, do not let your students or you put your personal Texas Tech email or personal information in the contact, in the about, because that information is published to the organization's homepage. In the privacy agreement that whenever the first time you ever log in the Tech Connect, there's a privacy agreement you have to agree to. In that agreement, it says that some information in Tech Connect is accessible to the public outside of the Texas Tech institution. So if you put your personal email and contact information in the about information, some rando from some sales company could go look up which organizations have information out there and they can contact you and bug you. And we've had that happen. Don't do that. Okay. Use a organizational email or just don't put a contact information. Okay. You could instruct people to join the organization or call this phone number for more information. Okay. You also can look at the roster. You can look at events that the organization has hosted that they have put in Tech Connect. I'm going to nerd out for y'all real quick. Cool thing that's about to happen that y'all all need to be aware of because it impacts our student organizations and the advertising of their events across campus is Texas Tech just adopted a new campus-wide calendar software called Trumba. We are working with the CIO's office to integrate Tech Connect through an RSS feed into Trumba, which means that every event, college department or student organization that is entered into Tech Connect will automatically go to the campus-wide events calendar. So if your organization is not using the events feature in Tech Connect, they need to be, because pretty soon, if you enter an event in the Tech Connect, it's going to go all over campus. And everyone's going to be able to see it. So kind of cool. You have the ability in Tech Connect to create a newsletter for your organization. You also have a gallery in Tech Connect where you can upload pictures and file folders of pictures for your organization. You have a document section that really acts like a share drive where you can upload important financial documents or constitutional updates or advisor agreement forms or anything like that, that maybe in the future officers that take position or maybe any future advisors need to have access to those documents. So that's a great place to store them because Tech Connect never loses any documents. And then you never have to worry about people forgetting passwords to Gmails or Google Drives or anything like that. You also have a forms tab. So Tech Connect, one of the best features about Tech Connect is its ability to create an electronic form to gather information. So if you, if No Mind Left Behind is going to do a service project and you need members to sign up for a service project, you can create a form in Tech Connect that students can fill out to sign up for that event. And then that form is always stored in your organization's page. You can export the contents of that form into a spreadsheet and then organize that spreadsheet however you need to. It's pretty cool. You can do elections in Tech Connect. You can have officer elections in Tech Connect. We don't use the finances tab. And then you also can log service hours for your organization. And then your individual members can log individual service hours in their Tech Connect account and tag your organization in that posting. And then you can go in and approve or deny those service hours. So kind of cool being in a centennial era and, a million service hours. That's kind of a really neat feature about Tech Connect that we've tried to broadcast to our student organizations. And that's pretty much it in Tech Connect. If you're interested as an advisor in learning more of how to use Tech Connect and how to use it as a management platform, I'm happy to talk about Tech Connect all day long. Ask Emily. I'll nerd out about it and tell you all the ins and outs that you really just don't need to know because I think it's so fascinating. Anyways, yes, so now we'll go back to the PowerPoint. Looks like we're good there. And I don't want y'all to go over on time. Advisor resources. We have a plethora of resources on our webpage. The webpage is fantastic. It has recently been revamped and completely redesigned. Everything on the website is up to date. Even the documents have been redone because Emily Warren is a champion and has done all of that in the 6 months you've been employed? Yes. We have 2 Instagram accounts. We no longer have a TikTok account, but please follow us at TTU Student Orgs. That's the one that we gear towards the audience of student org leaders and advisors at TTU, at Get Involved TTU. is geared towards the student body as a whole, of how they can be involved on campus and what our student organizations are doing. You will also every Tuesday get an email from Tech Connect with our weekly newsletter. If y'all would like to put announcements in our newsletter in Tech Connect, there is a form for weekly newsletter announcements where you can submit your stuff and we'll post it in our newsletter. Our campus partners are SGA, Student Union and Activities with room reservations, the RISE office to provide workshops for risk intervention and safety education to our leaders, of course, the Office of Student Conduct, the Office of Student Rights and Resolution, or the Title IX office. Raiders Report, really that's a student conduct partner, but Raiders Report is a great resource for you as an advisor and for your student org leaders to know about. It has every possible reporting form on that website in one location, where if anything were to happen or there's a concern in your organization, our students have access to all of those reports and it's easy for them to report something, okay? And then Raider Education is through the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We have Raider Education content in our solo modules. And so, you know, if there's just professional development in certain topics that your leaders might want to know about, Raider Education is a great resource. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, y'all. You can contact us anytime. You can contact me directly. You can contact Emily directly. Please, please, please refer your student leaders to reach out to student orgs at ttu.edu for just general business or general questions they have. You know, but of course, refer them to me as well. You know, sometimes we can have dire situations, knock on wood that we don't, but we also can have very positive situations too, and just general questions that y'all need answer to. So please never hesitate to reach out to our office.
Awesome.
That's the end, y'all.
Well, can I jump in?
Sure, jump in.
I just wanted to let everybody know I actually office out of the museum. And so if anybody ever needs meeting rooms or auditoriums or gala space, we're available. Or if you just want a tour of the Centennial, I'll be more than happy. I'd love to get to know as many people as I can. So please let me know.
Oh, that's fantastic, Annette. That's so great. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have contact information or where we can maybe like just have it handy?
Yes. Actually, I'll send it via email to everybody.
Perfect.
With my signature. And then that way, if y'all need me or if you want to, you know, like I said, come check out Centennial, we'd love to have you here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Annette. That's exciting.
Thank you.
And I will talk to y'all soon. And Amy, I will take you up on visiting about Delta Sigma Phi later on.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, anybody else? Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. All right, well, now you're oriented to being a student org advisor. So good luck. May the force be with you.
Thank you, Amy.